What's up, everybody? This is N.G.A TV with another video, and I'm here to tell you about the three classes of men and the seven types of guys that you will probably recognize or run across in the society we live in today. The question is, which one are you? Now, we're going to start with Class A, which is the hotshot alpha and the Tricon gunho jock gamma. Okay, starting with the hotshot. This is the guy, the cool guy that you see at the bar, conversating with the girls, getting laid, girls' numbers, and calling the shots. The loudest one, or maybe the coolest one at the party. Everyone likes him, and he gets along fine. He is pre-select. Girls already like him because of his physical qualities. He's 6'5", 220 pounds, and he has a charming, masculine face. You know, he's normally doesn't have to be hard to get laid because he already has pre-desirable qualities the female wants. You know, good looks, status, build, confidence. He sometimes has money but doesn't have to, and could be and doesn't have to worry about retaliation. He could be a jerk to women. But this is not always the case. He is a natural leader and doesn't mind taking control and doesn't and demands, but realizes he has some responsibility, and with that comes seeking help and approval from others. Now, not all alphas are douches, but there are some that I'll get to in a minute that are complete douches. The only alpha I would consider a complete douche is the gamma, which I'll get in a minute. There are good and bad ones. Even the good ones have some bad traits. He could sometimes be full of himself and cocky. If you don't want to let him lead, and give him what he really wants, that's when he starts getting mad at you. That's when he starts wanting to shame you and make you single you out. 80% of American women pick 20% of these men. But really it's because they don't have to be just a normal guy, because they have natural physical prowess. But someone with enough money, status, and power, even a beta, can get access to 20% of the women if he just applies himself to these attributes, if he wants to be the new alpha. This is a topic I will touch on in a later video. These women can be top status, high quality women, or bottom of the barrel with high standards of the best of men, while they walk over the best of men every day just to chase a pipe dream of a magical getaway to the white knight in shining armor, to a magical wonderland to live happily ever after that doesn't really exist. You get it? White knight in shining armor. Simp. You see what I'm saying? It's even in the stories and the fairy tales. They want the white knight in shining armor because he's a simp, not because he's masculine. A lot of females have been socially engineered in their DNA via feminism to want these guys. The alpha is indeed a great role, but sadly he's been whipped and controlled by validation, and that's all he lives by. He's in the matrix to please people and not himself, and this is why he is not usually worthy to be a healthy MGTOW. He gets into relationships, but only to leave the girl high and dry without telling her, from the start. He usually breaks up with the girl and leaves the next guy looking like he's a bad guy for being nice, the beta, because she thinks all guys are like him. The next guy in Class A is the Tricon gunho jock, the gamma. This guy I can classify as a bully. This guy has some good qualities than others. He doesn't go by what society says on media or pop culture. He doesn't listen to what people tell him or be bossed around. He also has some physical attributes and traits as the alpha, but some personality traits are just super negative. Instead of being confident, he is super emotional like a hyper aggressive simp, a sociopathic, narcissistic asshole who sometimes has this mad superiority complex. Most of this has to deal with the secret inferiority complex which he hides to overcompensate via his fake tough guy bullshit. He doesn't like to lose an argument and always thinks he's right no matter what. He's so fucking stubborn and closed-minded, and the only way, his only way is the right way, and always points the fingers instead of taking self-accountability. He blames everybody else and finds a scapegoat to get himself out of the situation or to make himself feel better. He's a classic Gamma and an asshole. He's the guy in the horror movie that blames the hero for being the killer when really it's just a misunderstanding. Yet again, he has good traits but struggles to be the person, the alpha, the zeta, and the sigma male, which I'll get into in a minute. Basically, he's a wannabe alpha. He's also the tough guy at the bar that will talk crap and then fold when you come at him wanting to fight. He's that guy that you'll see be an asshole to dudes and claim he's alpha, and then you'll see him with a feminist wife bossing him around in public or at home. This guy is really sad because he is definitely not the guy he alludes to behind closed doors, and he puts on a front for the public to look cool, to appear safe, so his fragile image won't be destroyed. These guys are also these wannabe tough guys you see in the black community who go by the infamous name Pookie and Ray Ray and pick on black intellectuals or nerds or people that like to be called educated lame or that don't like to be called educated lames. But these people aren't educated lames. There's nothing lame about them because a handful of majority are just logical sigmas which are heavy in the red pill space. A perfect example of a Tradcon Gamma will be Tucker Carlson because he has alpha traits. He says the right things, but then tells guys to stay stuck in the plantation and deal with women, or you're not a real man. One of the worst type of cucks. They were also the bullies in school that would steal your lunch money or shove you into the lockers, give you wedgies in the gym. And these typical type of assholes play in high school, but don't get much far in life. And at best, you'll probably find them working at McDonald's after high school, taking orders from the alpha boss while he sees you pull up in a nice car, a brand new Mercedes, giving him a fresh $100 bill, telling him what to do. Go figure. Karma's a bitch. I knew a guy in my elementary school who's just like that. This is real, folks. Now the class B. This is what I would consider the lone wolf outsider class. Not losers. That would be that would be considered the beta and omega. But this will be considered the undesirable because they don't meet the status quo. But believe it or not, this is the best class of men because they define what alpha or red pill is to them, not others. The first guy on the list, our list, is the Zeta male. Now, some of you in this space may never heard of the Zeta, but he could very well be a full MGTOW. The fictional equivalent to this guy would be the character Bane or Punisher. He is an extreme red or typical black pillar. The Zeta is a nonconformist, lone wolf like a Sigma that has a lone wolf mentality who rejects today's gender roles in this genocratic society. It doesn't put the female on a pedestal because basically it would be pussy, as he would say. They believe in pump and dump and that the whole idea of gender equality is complete bullshit, which I would agree. They also believe most women have little or no importance outside of sex or their vagina. And why put them on a pedestal and place them higher than yourself on a public platform? And whoever does that is a major simp, which is true. They say that women are not superior and don't allow women to abuse or control them. This Zeta male is the type to destroy a woman's spirit by cursing her out and leaving her high and dry when shit tested and not think twice about it. They don't believe in gaming a woman to get numbers, to get in dates, or taking a woman home. Now, unless it's pump and dump, and that's where I would fall in, I would consider pump and dump, but not a serious, relationship. In these cases, the Zeta male is full monk mode. Zeta doesn't want to pull chicks either. She likes them or not. This is more like a full MGTOW person to me. Zeta doesn't pay a woman's bills, doesn't argues them, doesn't give them money, and will not jump into any fight to save the damsel in distress because he doesn't know what he's getting himself into. They don't even take a woman's side to jump and save her because they feel like it's a form of white knighting. There's that word again. They believe it's best to walk away and stay out of it unless you know what's going on or have something to do with you or your family or his family. The Zetas also have this mental clarity of not focusing entirely on women so much or chase them. They are introverts with confidence and boldness and are different from everybody else. Instead of ranking at the bottom of the social hierarchy, they rather be on the outside and call themselves outsiders of the system. Sigmas at least try to do them and have some women in their life and say, you do you, female, and I do me, and leave it at that. The Zeta flips everyone off and goes completely rogue. Fuck the system, fuck society, and does exactly what they want. This type of person is more like a black pill renegade who opts out of traditional societal expectations and goes against the grain no matter what society says. He intentionally does things differently by not complying. This type of guy always turns heads and is a total rebel. I emphasize a lot with this guy because I don't give into society's ways, and I rather make the system pay for what it did than help trying to save it. Since I totally believe in, probably, wouldn't change anything anytime soon. I'm more of a Zeta Sigma, so I could go my own way as well, but don't mind standing my ground and giving what their mama gave them at times. These guys, they feel like they don't feel like saving the world, and they feel like it's best letting it burn. The second part of this class is the non-conformist Sigma. Now, these guys could save the world. These guys could try to do something about it. The Sigma has a traditional lone wolf mentality in which he rejects the stereotypical BS stereotypes of people in society. Even though we're not total outsiders, we go our own way and be ourselves. We reject the leaders of any group and lead ourselves and not allow ourselves to be led or try to lead others. These guys are typically deserters and are considered traitors to countries, a group, or a tradition. They could be revolutionaries, but are usually innovators that try to change things in industries that are very lucrative in entrepreneurship because they have something to offer. They will have huge success in these areas, while the Zeta will have the most success by saying, fuck this shit, let me do my own thing against the system. The Sigmas have an option to take or lead by example, or follow until they wind up leading, but not for long. The only difference between Zeta and Sigma is that Sigma doesn't like traditional social rules and ignores them. Zeta changes them altogether and goes way off the radar, challenging it by changing them completely. If a Sigma does decide to lead, he'll be more diplomatic. It will be like a like-minded group to destroy domestic and foreign enemies, the real traitors, to achieve his goals of victory. He may have allies among the bunch to work with him as associates, but then he'll go out his own way to help his like-minded followers. Sort of like the MGTOW manosphere. The last group is Class C. I call this class the loser class. There are three types of losers: the nice guy, beta; the wannabe follower, delta; and the timid, weak, sore loser, omega. Let's start off with the beta. The beta is the nice guy that will try to get girls' numbers, will try to be nice, and then when the girl flakes on him, the beta male gets laid, and then gets mad when the girl flakes on him. But the beta male gets laid, but only being a simp and by coercion. He has to fake like he's the nice guy, and he has to be a punk to get the nookie instead of telling her straight up what it is up front. Basically he knows what he wants, but he has a corny way of going about it. This guy is a total prey to PUAs, and usually he exists not only to keep about the system, but because his mom raised him with these qualities as a way to control him. He would usually be coerced to marry and commit, and always take hits from his wife, like the gamma, but not never standing up to himself because he thinks the woman is always right and doesn't like how, doesn't know a lick about her nature. She could do no wrong, and he slaps her for defending. He gets on men and defends her against guys. This guy is dangerous because he's the type of guy that will grow jealous of other dudes getting more attention by this girl that he likes and have low self-esteem. He can't get the Sigma doesn't care. He seeks validation. This guy seeks validation only when it comes to women and nothing else. The second tier of Class C is the Delta follower. The Delta follower is the second to most weakest member of the group. He does things just for validation of everybody, or just because he thinks it's popular. The latest trend, celebrity gossip, fashion, he's all over it, like syrup on pancakes, and eats it up. He's the guy that is usually a yes man and only wears the new pair of J's because everyone at his school is wearing them. And it's the cool thing to do because it's his favorite shoe. This guy, not because it's his favorite shoe. This guy's life is a total waste. He can't live without compliments, likes, shares, and only does things because other people are doing it. He's the jack of all trades, but the master of none. He doesn't do anything worthwhile, and is the type of guy that will hate on someone or pick on you just because someone else is doing it. These are 70% of the male world. They are very common, and in this society, most men fall into this category. I look at it like this: Class A is 20%, Class B is 20%, Class C is 60% of society, which includes beta, omega, and delta. But to be more specific, I say 70% are gammas, omega, beta, and delta, 10% are truly alpha, and 10% are red pill, sigma, and zeta. Because we are two sides of the same coin of a rarity. Alphas are a rarity by nature, sigmas and zetas are a rarity by choice and behavior. The last person is the omega male, the total loser and outcast. It's best to save the best for last. This is your average Comic-Con nerd. He's the kid that got bullied at school and didn't bother to fight back, pushed in the lockers, and stood there and watched as everyone laughed. He does have some good traits, even though he doesn't really care about what people think. It doesn't mind being the weird kid who plays games and reads comic books. He ignores social cues and looks like a straight geek. These guys have no chance of getting laid, even worse than the beta and delta, who can at least fake it till they make it. This guy is a total loser, you know, who girls already know, is just he's just full of himself and he just into what he does. They often confuse these guys. Some feminists often confuse these guys with the Sigma or Zeta philosophy because they opt out of the dating pool altogether. But these guys are really the outlier or anarchists of the whole hierarchy. These Omegas are sore losers, always think they're right. They're like the Gamma because of their nerdy superiority complex, but are also passive aggressive. They can snap on a dime and get mad because girls don't want them, but don't want to change their ways of being different. The total losers. These guys casually go angsty, piss, and become rebels and incels like Elliot Rogers. But don't confuse them with the Zeta because the Zeta does it for good reasons. Even though an incel could be a hurtful term, these are not MGTOW and are emotional, unstable men who are confused and need guidance and to be better men and grow up and stop making childish mistakes. Now, before we go, I have one more thing to add. There is a string theory where these guys fit in. Now, the types, now you know the types. Now you need to know what roles and occupations are good for them. There are 5 types of roles these 7 guys usually fall into. The first role is conformist. This will be perfect for the Delta because he's such a follower who seeks validation. The Delta and the Beta. The innovator. This is the second one. This will be the Sigma because he's already a nonconformist and has goals that's way different from the rest of society. So he would probably be in the entrepreneurship or try to change an industry that's already made. The traditionalists. This would be the Gamma and Alpha because they do usual things by nature and are okay with just being a leader and doing things the way it's always been done, not because of followers. They don't care for a big reward or prize. Now, this is the Alpha. This Alpha will fall into the traditionalist role because the Alpha he would probably be more into like just getting a job, just doing him, but leading, having a business. The Zeta will fall in the innovator role. Escapist. This is the total Omega. Instead of doing what he has to do, he'd rather sit all day and play video games and draw comics and get a job and not instead of get a job and handle his responsibilities as a grown man. He's a 30-year-old in his mom's basement arguing with petty teenagers online over Minecraft. Yeah, this is the guy that just is a slacker, bum, nerd. He knows more about comic books than anything else. He doesn't know anything that could make an industry or make him some money. Last but not least, now actually, I know I said the Zeta could be the innovator, but really the Zeta is the rebel. This is the total Zeta. He says fuck tradition and he seeks in society, inserts his own values to change them. This guy changes industries by doing something totally different and creates a new invention of industries to prove to the world this is what he has to be no matter what. These guys are extremely rare and usually don't have a place in the system because they opt out altogether. Well, that's it for today. Hope you enjoyed the video. Like, subscribe, comment, and share. This is N.G.A TV, and before I go, which one of you are you? And what role would you most likely fit into? And if you don't fit into any of these archetypes, personally, I would call you a rebel. I feel like I'm a cross between an innovator and a rebel, but you may be different. Well, it's been real. This is N.G.A TV, and I'm out this time.